Just resuming.
Not really
Hi.
anything that we could have done differently, I think, besides to just put it out earlier so that Sam Hyde wouldn't freak out.
Yeah, I think by the time Sam Hyde released that, like the narrative is already made, no matter what.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, I am very proud of that documentary. I honestly think
Great.
it's probably one of the most well-edited videos I've ever made, and I am glad that I made it because I'd been a fan of Sam Hyde since before I'd even started making TF2 videos. So it's like it was like a cool dream project almost.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, it was cool and exciting, and we're currently trying to figure out who to do the documentary on next.
I heard of this guy called the What? He makes mouse pads.
Yeah, I make the best mouse
Crazy
heads.
stuff.
That is kind of insane, and like he's like a kooky character. So
Yeah,
I also
he's kind of a
hear
wacky
he has
fella.
this sort of hobby where he takes one of the rods.
I don't think this part's important, guys. I
He takes one of the rods and he
go on.
see this is the research. You need to see.
Can't wait to have my dubs on the podcast and talk about sounding for an hour.
Do you think Soundsmith likes sounding? Do you think Soundsmith likes sounding?
Yeah.
No. Soundsmith is the most creative person I know.
How do you think he got his name? He likes sounding.
doesn't
and his
even-
name is Smith.
He's the smither of
Anytime
it.
I'm in like a group Discord with him and like Dean and a bunch of other people. Anytime that we start like going off and making like jokes that are like I don't know, maybe
Out of pocket.
yeah, like yeah,
Funny.
he always like deafens himself. It's really cute. He's like, I can't hear this. It's like he's putting his.
I feel like
I feel really bad if we invited him on here, like by some chance we get contact with him and then we just talk about sounding for the next hour. I feel
like every
he
time
would chuckle uncomfortably and probably try and change the subject.
I feel like every time he makes a joke, he turns it around and makes sure like his mom thinks it's okay for him to say it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think I want to say he was like raised religiously, or I don't know. He's just a good little boy. I don't know.
He goes
silly
ahead.
goober. So this question is by Mayonnaise. Oh wait, no, I just asked that one.
Oh,
Okay, should we? Do you
This
want to do
one's,
like a quick round so we can go like?
Yeah,
like
okay. Quick rapid fire Twitter questions from twitter.com/chucklenutteries. Please call us.
10 words or less answers, by the way.
Okay, this one's by Not Sam G. What's one thing you'd change about TF2?
Like
Time's ticking.
the balance of the game.
Remember, $20 buff the
What
high.
balance? What balance?
Why is this not connected?
I would make engineer be more of like a healing class than like a defense class. Like I would buff his dispenser like crazy. His dispenser sucks right now. I mean it's nice, but it stands in one spot and doesn't do anything.
Well,
Kill
it's
the
good
walk
if it's
around.
tuned
Just
silent.
combine.
Yeah,
Combine the
anything.
dispenser and the sentry. Because the dispenser can
I'm
defend
di-
itself.
Yeah, I mean I'm how
Like a mecha.
if a sentry could just auto heal itself, that would fucking suck. No, I do think that it would just make engineer. I just want there to be like an alternative to playing medic because it sucks that medic is so impactful that if you don't have a medic and the other team has a medic, then you probably lose. It sucks.
Yeah.
What would you feel about if they re-added the quote-unquote cut weapon, the cut PDA engineer had, which allowed him to build 2 mini dispensers?
I'm mad that didn't happen because I think that would be great. Mini dispenser sounds awesome. I would just spam those things everywhere, man.
I don't think I know why they broke it.
All right,
Yeah.
Who knows?
I've got a question from Masa T. What is your favorite Breaking Bad episode?
The Fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson's a genius. No,
Bravo.
I think honestly.
I don't want to be spoiled because I am actually watching this series now, so no.
Taco 1111 for game. Why do you come on smaller channels podcast? Example Among Us podcast. Oh, okay. Why do you think other larger creators do not?
What do you mean? You guys had a bunch of other people on here, like Short and.
I feel like this
They
is
think
not a
like Among
good
Us
question
podcast
for
creators
us.
are shit.
Oh, I don't know because I don't have a problem talking to strangers and people who reach out to me to do that. I usually say yes. I don't know. It's not. I'm not as unapproachable. I think I said this in your Among Us podcast. It's like when people ask me to do things, usually I'll say yes because.
Hey, Dance, are you there? Or any creepy video enjoyers? Let me know. Because I took a while to come back because I was watching a creepy video and now I need to share it with someone, but I need someone to be listening, so otherwise I'll just continue.
I think they're just worried about like if
Please
they
don't
say no,
freeze.
fucking career. You know,
Your
like
career
my
ended, but no
idol.
one has to know.
Yeah.
No one has to know.
They
Because
say
Yeah.
no, they just summon all
Yeah.
the
Cancel on Twitter.
hack them.
Yes, we know that.
I remember that. Yeah.
The board for
I think
Lance.
they're just. I think they're just worried.
What are they saying here?
It's not. I'm not as unapproachable. I think I said this in your Among Us podcast. It's like when people ask me.
Oh,
if
they
I'm
did have
gay,
an
I
Among
say
Us
yes because
I
podcast.
remember that. Yeah.
The board for
I
Lance.
think they're just. I think they're just worried about like if they say no, fucking career. You know,
Your
like
career
my
ended, but no
idol.
one has to know.
Yeah.
No one has to know.
They
If
say
you
Yeah.
no, they just summon all
Yeah.
the
Cancel on Twitter.
hack them.
And besides, I wouldn't even say no. That's too mean. I would just ignore them.
I would say fuck off, me. No, but I would. Yeah, I don't know.
They say, hey, can you come on the podcast? And like, you have
I got.
audacity to ask me, the king, for a question. And you summon
It's gotta
all
be like a. I will
700,000
say.
of your subscribers to go summon.
What the
Like
heck?
YouTubers out there go hit 100K.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I think it's just like if you have an idea for a video that relies on like the help of somebody bigger than you, and they say like no, right? Like what are you gonna do, right? Like oh damn,
Yeah.
show must go on. I had that happen to me. I asked like the only 3 heavy mates in existence for help, and they said fuck off. I was like okay.
I'm pretty sure they didn't say that.
Yes, all right. Like fuck me.
I don't know. I don't feel like if you look at it like I don't know if you went and watched random videos, then you probably find my voice coming up in random
Like,
ones because
more and more.
occasionally someone will DM me and say, "Hey, can you send me a voice clip of you for 10 seconds?" And you say, "Wait a minute, that's not right," or something,
Oh,
and then I'll put it
yeah.
in my video. It's like a cameo, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's like
I wouldn't
literally takes 20 seconds to do. Here you go." And I'll literally not even know what video it went in. I don't I don't follow up on it.
I was gonna ask you actually because I was working on a video about like turtling engineering, why it's like silly, and I was gonna say something
Yeah.
along the lines of Uncle Shane would be disappointed, and then I wanted you to like get you to just be like, "Hi, I'm Uncle Shane, and I'm disappointed," or something
Yeah.
really dumb.
Good bit. Funny bit. Hilarious
That would be
bit.
fire.
Yeah. Wow.
I'll do that. A guy actually here. Let me find it. I'm actually quite
Let's
proud
do
of what I
this
came up with.
here.
Richter time.
Victor
Whatever.
Overtime.
Yeah,
He was talking about this. He was talking
He's
about
mentioned it
Yeah.
several times.
Richter Overtime messaged me and said, well, for one, I went on his like podcast where he like interviews people, but after that he was like, hey, do you want to like do a verse in a song? And I was like, well, that's a little harder, but I'll see what I can come up with. And I wrote and
Let's do
recorded it in like
this.
2 hours, and I sent it to him.
Wasn't
And
2 hours?
and then later, and then later he sent me the video. I was like, that's awesome. I mean, like I like being a part of projects like that. So it's
I remember I asked him recently because he was gonna be on a podcast and he fucking lost his audio.
Let's see.
But I asked him, I'm like, with that song, did he write the lyrics? And he's like, no, Uncle Dane just wrote it. Like, and he was so chill with it. He wrote it to make it fit exactly. And I'm like, that's so cool how you
Nice.
just did that.
yes.
Okay, so this goes over here.
Considered it. I'm not a musician. That's the only thing keeping me from a music career is the fact that I don't know how to read music. I am tone deaf and I don't know how to make music.
Hey man, AJR exists.
We got sound
the greatest band ever.
No, okay. Play a little
okay,
snippet
alright,
of
alright,
University by AJR.
I don't. What is this? I don't even fucking
Who
know.
are the band?
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, I love
Never
AJR.
heard of
Band
them.
with the loosest definition ever.
They're really shit.
Me
but I
and
love
Dave. Look. There's like the average fucking response to me.
Oh, would you like to do a
Anytime
verse
you
with
guys
us?
talk about something. Oh my god.
If you guys make a Chuckle Nuts like
We're unironically
song, then
making an
I'll
album.
do it.
What do you mean unironically? This is not in the
We're
contract.
making an album.
It's in the contract.
Space. We've
Oh
talked
my
about
God.
this.
This is news to me.
Oh, yeah, space. Be like, I don't read anything. I'm space guy.
I fucking listen. You want my? Here's my honest reaction. This is like everybody's reaction. No, check general. This is everybody's reaction to fucking me right there in general. The video.
So, are you ever gonna make are you gonna make a second Uncle Dane album? I love the first one so much. I can't wait for
Did you make
part
2?
I have made a second one,
Me too.
so I did.
Oh wait, oh sorry, another one. Well, we make another one. A follow up.
Yeah, Probably eventually. I have a document on my Google Docs just called it's called "If I Make Another Album." That's the title of it, and I put a bunch of like song titles because occasionally, like it'll just come to mind or something, or just like it makes me laugh too hard. One that I just recently wrote down because it made me laugh really hard was, you ever heard that song "Fireflies" by Owl City?
Yeah.
No.
You would not believe your eyes. So I kept going. You would not believe your eyes if there were 100 spies, or something like
Oh
that. Where it's just
gosh.
like my whole team is spies.
Ryan sat
Or
my
so,
central.
yeah, yeah. It was making me laugh really hard, so I wrote it down. And there are a bunch of things like that on this
What
list.
the heck?
So
Why is this
eventually, I
separating
think
again?
maybe if I get or if I have a reason to, I'll just go through that list and start writing things. But I've only written a few of them, and I haven't recorded any of them. So it is possible to do.
Connect.
It's just that
Please
I've
don't be
always been
dumb.
kind of like reluctant about
Okay,
it
good.
because I feel like the joke was made with those albums, and the joke would not be as funny if
But
I
it's
did
not
it
even a
again.
joke. It's like genuinely
They're
like
just
this
good.
civil
I just
music. Like
like them. Do they do
Let's
well?
hey, well
Do
you
they do
guys
well
are. I'm
extensively?
turning pink. You guys are making me freaking blush.
I mean, we're so
Yeah.
starstruck by you.
Yeah,
fucking. You're,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't take their taste in music quality to that high of a standard, Dane. I'm gonna be honest.
Wait. So I don't know if that was a backhanded compliment or what
Well,
were you
I
trying
like
to say?
AJR, so my opinion doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
What is AJR?
Yeah.
No, but genuinely, I think a lot of people don't even see it as a joke because they listen to the entire goddamn album. They're like, oh man, this is actually like good shit.
Yeah, do people like listen to that? Like, does it do well in like views compared to your other videos?
No, actually, not on. I don't know. Actually, I haven't really noticed the views on the YouTube video, but on Spotify, um,
17,000
Spotify
to be specific.
Spotify sends me like $100 every once in a while. I'm like, what? Oh, people are listening to my songs on Spotify.
They
Okay.
go hard, dude.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I
You know, at least your voice is getting out on Spotify through that, and not on the fucking podcast. Nobody listens to it on Spotify.
There's an
We have
Uncle Dane
2,000
radio.
listeners actually. We have 2,000 listeners.
No, it's
Oh, actually, oh, that's
That's not
nice.
too
Yeah.
bad.
all right. I have one from
Oh yeah.
Camboni Boo. Have you ever wanted to make content for other classes? And if so, have you ever had to stop because of your viewer base?
Um, I did have a video like kind of almost all the way written or conceived or whatever about it was called like underrated alternative loadouts for other classes besides engineer. That wasn't the actual title, but that's the concept.
Pending
It's a
title.
clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was things like hybrid night and like the cleaner's carbine with the bushwalker knife and stuff
This
like
sounds like
that.
the art of the subclass.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think the main reason why I didn't make it is because people beat me to it. You know.
Okay, no,
So
Maxo, I hate that.
Yeah, come on,
Yeah,
bro.
I
Maxo,
feel
it's
like
not
He
worth it.
would have done it better than me.
Live in the
But
future.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it. I've considered making. I don't know. I think maybe somebody might have already done this, but recently I've really been obsessed with playing shotgun on heavy. Not
Oh,
necessarily shotgun, but the family business.
yes.
And not using it as like a fat scout gimmick,
Yes.
actually using it intentionally, like
Yeah.
where if I'm repositioning, I just have it out, and if somebody jumps me, I can just blast them. Like it's so I'm not always relying on like really slow rev up time.
Yeah.
And it's really nice. It's like if I want to be moving, if I'm retreating or going forward and I want to do damage, then I have that option. But if I want to be kind of like in one spot and be doing damage, then I just switch
Yeah,
to
but that's a huge coincidence because I'm actually making a video right now on that exact same premise, like
Oh, that's
using
awesome.
the
Okay,
shotgun
great.
to actually use the shotgun.
I'll just throw out my fucking script. Yeah, great. The way. Yeah.
No.
Tremendous.
I wasn't writing it. I was just like, that would be
Yeah.
a cool
Way
video.
to copy Uncle Dane the love you.
Right.
I've only been doing it for like 2 days. So,
First I copied on Maxo's video a day after he uploaded it. Now I'm doing it to Dane before he even said his idea. I'm
Maybe
just
Richter
stealing
was
everyone's ideas.
Richter was right
but
on
it is,
Twitter.
yeah, but it is kind of like it's not. I'm not stopped necessarily by my viewers. I'm just stopped by other YouTubers making those videos anyway. Like, and I'd
Yeah.
rather they do it than me, to be honest, because I have my niche and I want other people to, have their videos that they make too. I don't want to
Now you should
take
just
all the
take over
ideas
the
or whatever.
entire platform. Just take everyone's ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing: if I made videos about other classes, only YouTuber worth watching, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because I'm the best,
Yeah, you gotta take
and
everyone's
nobody would have
audience.
any reason to watch anyone else.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
the only
mean,
reason, yeah.
right now there are currently 8 slots open. I think, well, no, 7 because Sounds thankfully sober. But 7 slots open for like actually watchable YouTubers just on free to their class.
What the fuck?
that's fucked up.
That's
Not
not
only that, free
nice.
for one
Wow,
class
I see how
basically.
it is.
What I mean, I can really only think of one other, like, highly dedicated class only YouTuber, and that's Theory Y with Metal.
Mhm.
I
That's
would even say Area 7 sort of.
Yeah,
Array
Array 7
Seven
Oh
works.
yeah,
kind of.
Or he's
Array
kind of
7
given
comes and
up on
goes.
that, right?
I
Yeah.
feel like he's just a part of the old head rookie
King
school of
Raja. Oh
YouTuber.
my god,
Yeah,
King
the-
Raja.
Jesus God.
Are people even gonna know who that is?
My, yeah, it's so old headed, dude. Oh my
Barely,
Yeah.
god.
barely.
That's a blast from the past.
It really is. It's like saying Musak or something.
Well, no, without knows. King Raja.
Well, people know who he is, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of like TF2, like,
Yeah.
people be like,
Mizo
wait,
got
Musak.
on the Safe TF2 team, right?
He did. He was
He
like
did.
one of
He
the
did.
he was
Part of it.
hashtag safe
worked, I think.
Yeah, like I'm sure he would probably play the game and come back to it. Like
Elon
he
Musk also, I
actually
think,
got
tweeted
into it.
about it. Elon Musk.
Well, fucking.
Musuk
No,
still
okay,
plays
people
TF2
Save
on his
Overwatch.
second channel sometimes.
Okay, this like lightly irritated me when people started like a saved Minecraft hashtag, and like I get like
What?
there is the whole whatever with banning players from multiplayer from recording or whatever, but I just felt like it was kind of petty.
No, our game
Like
got updated.
people just started people started complaining about the actual update too, just because people were doing save Minecraft instead of just the censorship or whatever that Mojang was doing.
People are
Hmm.
never happy, man. You don't want
So
you don't get an update, you're pissed. You get an update, you're pissed. There's no.
yeah, especially that one guy who said he would. Has he eaten his belt yet?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Eaten
This is the
what?
one guy.
Yeah.
This one's from Running Metaphor. Uncle Dane, do you jelk? Jelk?
No,
No.
I actually.
What is jelking?
Are you a
What's
jelking
interesting is
fan?
I just found out about that like
What is?
2 years
Can
ago
I get
when someone made a joke about it.
Google
Can
it,
somebody
bro.
explain jelking
So
real quick?
I'll explain it. Jelking,
In exquisite
because
detail, by the
I
way.
just learned this as well. Jelking is
jelk.
where, yeah, and there you can look up tutorials on YouTube on how to do it.
Go to r/jelking.
No, it's where you basically pull on your cock over and over again
What the
for
heck?
hours to make it longer.
What?
What?
Yeah,
Is that
it's
how
like
it works?
no, it's actually like
Sounds terrifying.
no.
To find out, let's try.
Well, I guess I don't know. I guess I don't know for sure, but I heard that it's actually doesn't work, and it's just like it's just a scam, really.
I don't know about that,
But
but I do know about the
Where do
Greek
people
professor
come up
that
with
just
these names, too?
When he's sucking his.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing entirely.
When he's sucking
Similar.
his
No,
cock.
no, joking is not a partner activity. It's you do it by yourself in a bathtub with
To
oil.
entertain your partner later.
Yeah, well, theoretically.
Why? I didn't know they'd
He's made jokes
be
about it, but
talking.
it literally
I
doesn't
guess
work.
it's a
It
group
just,
of guys, so that makes
sucks.
sense.
I'd imagine.
But I think is I feel like you could trick a bunch of like 16, 17-year-old like boys in high school to be like, my cock isn't big enough. What do I do? And they type in how to make dick bigger into Google, and then that comes up.
They get Ron
They're like
Jeremy
joking.
advertising pills.
Yeah, they're like the natural way to do it is to pull on your dick repeatedly until it's long.
Oh, so this is a bad
So
time
I'm
to
glad that
unveil my pistol enlargement pills.
All right, let's just
Bad one.
gaslight everyone. Delete everything that says it doesn't.
You gotta
work.
make they jump it off so they can put the Frank Ocean cock ring.
It works, guys. I can't believe it works.
It works.
I can't believe it works, guys.
I will note.
Oh my god, it worked! Holy fuck!
Our podcast members are slowly getting more and more deranged. We had Short, who
Like,
wasn't quite sure. He didn't quite like sounding. We then had Fishstick, who went along with sounding, and now we have Uncle Dane, who one-ups sounding.
I reverse sounded IRL. Yeah.
how else am I gonna fit the Frank Ocean cock ring, dude?
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, okay. I got one more by Private Gamer 23 that says, "Hey Uncle Dane, what were you thinking agreeing to hi? What were you thinking agreeing to come on? How fast can you run, and can you please start running? Thanks and have fun."
What? Running? Why?
Sure.
He just wants to race you.
Just end the
I think
podcast
I,
there.
I think
Sure.
I think he's wondering why did you decide to come on the chuckle events?
He already
Because
answered.
I was
mine.
asked. Yeah,
the second question. How fast can you run?
It's not like I don't know. I get along with people pretty easily. It's not like I was worried about it. I didn't. Like I said before, I didn't do any research, so I don't even know what I was getting into.
He's gonna be up at night staring at the ceilings thinking, what have I fucking done? Oh my god. The regret seeping in.
I saw the name and I said Chuckle Nuts Podcast. That's pretty funny. I'll do that.
Did anyone like tell you about our history?
No.
Not tell
The best.
boring, but yeah.
It's
Is
not
this
it's
bad? Is that your history? Is it like a history of like what?
Well, for the last four.
We actually we
Oh,
had
yeah.
Sam Hyde on our podcast.
Oh, lucky. Actually,
For- I don't
know.
I've never spoken to the man, so I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
last
we
four
asked him about
podcasts.
we asked him about the episode. He said, "Yeah, these guys are just such pussies, and they didn't post it. Hate them."
That's mean
Some
of him to say.
FBI.
I've heard him say he hates me.
He said worse.
You
Some
pathetic.
FBI
He fucking
agent might
hates. He
come up
fucking
to you.
hates me. His wife. It's really pathetic. It's like really just I
Hates what?
cringy shit.
Oh, Anissa, yeah, that's cringe.
It's like to the point where like,
He's
would she
genuine. I think
fucking
he's genuine.
breathe, dude?
He's like Andrew Tate for the old age.
Oh, I see.
He did call her
We're
Yoko
gonna get
Ono.
Andrew Tate in the podcast.
Okay, so that nickname is hilarious to me because when I was like 16 and I got my first girlfriend, all my friends called her Yoko Ono because I wasn't hanging out with them as much anymore. And to me, and I literally haven't heard anyone be called that in like 15 years. So like, to me, it's like a childhood like a playground insult, and to hear me seriously be saying it is just very funny to me.
I think the kids on your
It's
playground
like the
are
most
like ahead of their
childish.
time then.
It's the most. They don't even know. They're just like Yoko Ono broke up the Beatles because
Yeah.
she was a woman.
Was a woman.
That's not even true, by the way.
Yeah, they hated each other way before.
and to imply that like we're the Beatles, you know,
Yeah.
that's really funny.
The Beatles of
Yeah.
Sam Hyde.
Okay, this looks weird.
Have you ever seen that tweet where it's like these four people have ruined a generation? It's like Max, anything for views.
It's the chuckle nuts.
This tweet goes viral like every 6 months, where it's just a picture of them like sitting together. It's like these guys ruined a generation of kids. It's like they're the Beatles,
Chuckle nuts podcast.
That's really cringy.
right?
I can't imagine that being seriously said.
Oh my god, it trends
but-
like every.
But you go, honestly, go to any Filthy Frank video and look at the comments. It's like full of people who are just like, 5 years goes by so fast. What happened? I remember this was the golden
Yeah.
age. It's like,
Huh?
to me, I don't
Yeah,
know.
just people
To me, it's
complaining.
so weird. I always just thought of Filthy Frank as like a guy. I
Funny
didn't think
guy.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was like a cultural fucking
Yeah, no.
icon.
Well, now he is, because now he's
Landmark.
Joji. And
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and good on him because he makes good music.
yeah, same man.
Yeah.
I like Joji.
You've shown your face, right? So people have a chance of recognizing you on this. Do you ever freak out or like fear that happens? Has that ever happened?
It has happened only once within memory, and it was actually when I was at the hospital getting my freaking kidney stone removed.
Oh, weird.
The fucking male, the male nurse.
Please
I'm not even kidding. The male nurse who was like, I was just in my hospital room waiting, and the male nurse who was like on his shift was in there, and he was just like, "Hey, are you like Uncle Dane?"
Oh my god.
And
On your deathbed.
and then I was
Doing
like,
you
"Yeah, yeah."
doing the surgery.
He's like, okay, yeah, I've seen your videos before, and he was pretty chill about it. But the thing that did freak me out was when I don't remember what was happening, but I think he was like measuring my wingspan or something.
Yeah.
Like
He
wiener.
wasn't doing that. He was doing something where I had to stand up very close to him, and he was like measuring my body or something. I don't know what he was doing.
Looks like
No, under his breath, under his breath, to where I don't think he was intending for me to hear it. He kind of goes like this. He goes, Uncle Dane
Oh gosh.
And at the time, it like really creeped me out. But looking back on it, it's really, really funny, and I'm glad I did it.
You like pass
sounds
out
like
on
a scene
morphine
out
to
of,
the sound of Grumpy Justice.
That sounds like a
Alright,
scene out of
here's the
50
Maxo.
Shades of
Okay, should
Grey.
we wrap it up?
Alright, man. Well, it's been great
Yeah.
having you.
Oh, can we end
yeah.
can we end the podcast with a big announcement?
Yes.
Okay, as of
Getting
today,
married.
it is Corp's husband's birthday, so I feel like we should all end the
Oh.
episode. Yes! Happy birthday, Corp's husband!
What the heck?
Oh yeah, big
Corp's husband.
Fucking.
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck this is.
No, we're announcing
Yeah.
Corp's
tweeted our Discord. Everybody get in here right now.
Yeah, I remember Twitter too, because we haven't formally introduced it.
Oh, we have a Twitter.
But it's also
What the fuck's
Professor's
Corpse
birthday.
husband?
Professor's birthday.
Oh my gosh, those guys are crazy. Oh yeah, I had started. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, sounding. Oh no. Hmm. Okay, I know this will be very different than what we just listened to. But I'm gonna put it on anyway because I was starting to listen to it. So here it goes.
He would even throw these Halloween haunts on the ships he was stationed on. So whenever he made his way back to his house in San Diego, he began to host what are called home haunts. Home haunts are exactly what they sound like. Someone setting up a haunted house inside of their own home. Now, the majority of home haunts are along the line of something called a boo haunt. There's a lot of terminology in the haunted house fandom. A boo haunt is exactly what you imagine. You walk down a hallway with some cobwebs, and the skeleton says boo, and that's kind of the vibe. Because naturally, if the person who's hosting the home haunt doesn't have a lot of time or money to invest in what they're doing, the attraction will probably
I
end
can
up being
actually
basic. Now, I, for
move
one,
the colors.
absolutely love haunted houses. I think it's so cool to get a group of friends
Oh.
and just walk into some random guy's house and hope that he's not going to kill you. Now, obviously, high budget horror attractions are going to be the ones with the more spectacle, right? They're going to have the better effects, they're going to be longer, they're going to have better planned out scares. But living in southern Appalachia, there's not a ton of those to go around. So the majority of haunted attractions I go to are ones that businesses or individuals will set up on like a barn at the back of their property. And to me, those are always the most terrifying. Like whenever you go to a big high budget place, and yeah, while the effects will look objectively better, whenever a scare happens, you know that the place has signed all this paperwork saying that no one will be injured, and they have all these OSHA regulations, and they're going to make sure that no one can get hurt on any of the equipment. But whenever I show up by myself at some guy's house who doesn't have a mailbox, and I walk behind his house into a barn that says enter here, and some teenager runs at me with a hockey mask and a chainsaw, I know how to turn on the chainsaw. I don't know that he knows how to turn on the chainsaw. And that's what living's all about. I mentioned all that to say that, at least in the beginning, it seems Russ was closer to the latter example. He would have these scary hallways set up through his house with maybe a couple of zombie or skeleton mannequins thrown in here and there. And whenever you walk into the backyard, a couple of kids with fake chainsaws chase you around in front of it. Again, something basic, but to set all of this up and invite strangers into your home, you've got to love what you're doing. And for those who know how this story goes, things ain't looking too nice right now. The beginning, for sure, looks bad. But if you're like me and Part of the thrill is to get a little adrenaline rush and then immediately overcome it. But as soon as you overcome it, the next question is, can I go further? Because just like with any other adrenaline junkie, we're always looking for the next scare, the next big thrill. And people would say the exact same thing to Russ, so he decided to oblige them. Now, as I get into the timeline of events, they're a little foggy. The majority of record keeping comes from shortened mentions on the McCamey Manor YouTube channel, as well as interview clips from Russ and participants. So I'm fairly confident in this, but it'll be fine. It seems in 1995 that McCamey Manor either began or began in earnest, as seemingly after only a year or two of normal home haunts, Russ decided to take it up a notch. Each year, Halloween became a bigger ordeal. Instead of preparing a week in advance, he would prepare a month in advance. Instead of being open on Halloween weekend, he was open all of Halloween week. He began to hire more actors when kids from the local high school wanted to come scare people on Halloween week. And each year, the scares got more elaborate. And from the footage I've seen, he built some pretty awesome haunted houses. However, people
Oops.
kept saying the same thing, make it more scary. So Russ, wanting to be the entertainer, couldn't resist. He went from building props to complicated machinery. Instead of a scary mask flying at him, a giant spiked wall would drop down from the ceiling, stopping
Uh oh.
just
I
before
need to
hitching.
rewind it. Oh.
Rooms went from creepy hallways. These
Oops.
is to get a little adrenaline rush
There we go.
and then immediately overcome it. But as soon as you overcome it, the next question is, can I go further? Because just like with any other adrenaline junkie, we're always looking for the next scare, the next big thrill. And people would say the exact same thing to Russ, so he decided to oblige them. Now, as I get into the timeline of events, they're a little foggy. The majority of record keeping comes from shortened mentions on the McCamey Manor YouTube channel, as well as interview clips from Russ and participants. So I'm fairly confident in this, but it'll be fine. It seems in 1995 that McCamey Manor either began or began in earnest, as seemingly after only a year or two of normal home haunts, Russ decided to take it up a notch. Each year, Halloween became a bigger ordeal. Instead of preparing a week in advance, he would prepare a month in advance. Instead of being open on Halloween weekend, he was open all of Halloween week. He began to hire more actors when kids from the local high school wanted to come scare people on Halloween week. And each year, the scares got more
Uh oh.
elaborate. And from the footage I've seen, he built some pretty awesome haunted houses. However, people kept saying the same thing, make it more scary. So Russ, wanting to be the
Uh oh.
entertainer, couldn't resist. He went from building
There we go.
props to complicated machinery. Instead of a scary mask flying at him, a giant spiked wall would drop down from the ceiling, stopping just before it hit you.
Yikes.
Rooms went from creepy hallways to these completely transformed environments. And by 2008, it went from open for 1 week to the entire month of October, with a constantly rotating staff of actors inside. In all honesty, the guy built a fantastic haunted house. The production level he was reaching rivaled companies that did it full time. However, the primary thing that set those companies apart from McCamey Manor was audience retention, and I mean that literally. It's pretty common nowadays for someone to be touched or shoved or maybe even grabbed inside of a haunted house, but in McCamey Manor, it was more like an abduction. Again, the information I'm going off of is around 2008 because that's when the YouTube channel started uploading. And from the videos that we can find, it was a lot. People were grabbed and blood poured on them. People got locked inside of a coffin, thrown into baths of freezing water. In one clip I found, Russ is explaining how he built this metal cage where you get handcuffed to the side of it and then repeatedly dunked in water over and
Oh,
over, which
that's
is like
water
literally 2 steps
torture.
away from an execution. It's around this time that watching the footage from documentaries and videos uploaded to the channel that people who were just in it for the Halloween spirit started to bow out. And I mean for good reason. No one wants to go out for a night on the town with the boys just to wind up in a Guantanamo Bay sequel. However, it seems that Russ was developing a dedicated audience because those people who just wanted it to keep getting more and more scary were getting exactly what they wanted. And it
Yikes.
seems that it was great for business as well, as at this point people were traveling long distances to come see this final boss of haunted houses. So for several years, the house continued to operate as a standard haunted walkthrough where you're occasionally locked in a coffin. But as the years went on, the experiences became more curated. From the videos, it looks like it went from being placed weren't just handcuffed, you were blindfolded and pushed around a few times as well. They started incorporating things like tarantulas and making people eat live bugs.
Ew.
And a lot of this is still within the realm of the fear factor kind of thrills that you may expect from a place like this. However, one of Caney Manor's claims to fame was that there was no way out. Once you got into that house, you were not coming out until they were done with you. And depending on how much they wanted to do with you, several of these walkthroughs could take hours. And it created this very harsh divide where people came out of the house either swearing off the entire city of San Diego forever or coming back the next day to do it again. And it was in this niche of people who couldn't get enough of the torment that Russ found an interest. So again, he wanted to go bigger. It's also during this time that looking at clips of the Caney Man, his interest becomes less in the haunted house itself and more so in the presentation of it. Like whenever he gets asked why do you do this, why do you torment these people, he always says it's for the footage because the footage is what his fans want to see.
Let me give you some good suspense.
What?
Now, don't stop the show because I got to see you actors that are moving, hands moving, arms moving.
So now he's not only upping the stakes for everyone else, but for himself, which I mean, he was always doing that, but it was more apparent now. Around 2014, 2015, again, the dates are a little foggy, he decided to build a completely new facility on a farm located around San Diego. Just before he was finished with the project, he was ordered a cease and desist. Essentially, the city was hassling him on paperwork, and they were going to charge a bunch of fees, and it wasn't even for sure if he could get the certification to continue, because as you can imagine, the state wasn't willing to decide. Like, sure, a haunted house was no problem, but whenever people start to get cuts and bruises after attending, it caused people who were unaware to raise an eyebrow. And slowly, this mob of critics began to form against McCamey. As a matter of fact, it was an angry resident who tipped the city off to his new project. So McCamey, now fed up with everything, decides to totally reinvent himself. Instead of 1 month out of the year being dedicated to a haunted attraction, McCamey Manor began a new project called The Chamber. And if you're familiar with any of the stories of McCamey Manor, The Chamber's probably what you're thinking of. Instead of happening for 1 month out of the year, it would happen every weekend of the year. This seems to have begun around 2015 or 2016. To get in, you had to contact McCamey directly, and every event was dedicated to one person or group of people at a time. And instead of a haunted house, it became what I can only describe as systematic torture. This was done through an escalation of violence, where initially participants were blindfolded and sometimes gagged before they'd begin to be sweared at and shoved around. Then the shoving would escalate to
Oh, that
slapping
chick
as they
is. You could tell she's
as
given up.
systematic torture. This was done through an escalation of violence, where initially participants were blindfolded and sometimes gagged before they'd begin to be sweared at and shoved around. Then the shoving would escalate to slapping as they rotate between being waterboarded, having their hair cut off, forced to eat disgusting things, and
Ugh.
tied up and submerged in any scent you can imagine. This was when the manor was at its worst. For one, this seems to be the maximum intensity that the violence reached. They may have been harsher on single individuals that we'll talk about later, but by and large, this was the most intense that it got across the board. And two, and more importantly, this violence was not yet common knowledge. See, McCamey Manor had built up this reputation as something that's definitely an extreme haunt. Again, see the home of the paintballs. But that's still a far cry from showing up to a place and getting pummeled and spit on for half a day. So tragically, people came expecting a haunted house and ended up in the chamber. An example of
Oh.
this is from the YouTuber Gabs. I'll link a couple of her videos in the description.
Oh
But
yeah.
she was one of these people who expected a haunted house and ended up with more than she bargained for. And just as I mentioned earlier, there was no way out. See, McCamey Manor isn't the first extreme haunt. Believe it or not, there's like a ton of these. They're not as advertised or popular to the general public
Hmm.
as your normal haunted houses, but extreme haunts have their own devoted following.
Never
Blackout,
heard.
for example, is famous because everyone involved, the actors and participants, have to strip completely naked
What?
and then
Heck.
survive. While that
What?
concept is terrifying to me and you, hopefully, the concept in mind with all assembly line of assault and battery, which it is. And the way it's legal is kind of nebulous. For one, Rust McCamey never charged money for McCamey Manor. All the way from its beginning, never charged any money. The price for entry was you had to bring a 50-pound bag of dried dog food because Russ was very active in local animal shelters and had several dogs himself, which, if nothing else, is one golden line in this film. So because of that, it wasn't a business where Russ had to supply goods for payment. It was Russ who had a home and you who were presumably coming there on your own accord. And while he mentioned that there was some hassle he received from the fire department regarding safety inspections, he didn't have to follow the guidelines that most businesses had to follow, like, the Geneva Convention. The other detail is that everyone who came to the chamber had to sign a waiver. And if you've been to any haunted house or really any amusement attraction, you've probably had to sign a waiver saying if you're injured or killed that your family won't sue or the business does not hold liability. And just because I signed that doesn't mean I expect it to kill me. But at McCamey Manor, that was a legitimate option. And McCamey's waivers would say things like, hey, you may be pushed, punched, scratched, waterboarded. That essentially removed him from liability. There's a couple fantastic videos about the legality of McCamey Manor's waivers. See, I'm not the only crazy know-it-all on this stuff. One of them was by Leisha May, who again I'll link in the description. But a point she made in that video was the difference between negligence and gross negligence. In other words, if a waiver is signed to remove responsibility, that responsibility is normally for things that are expected to happen. The example Leisha used is if someone slips on a wet floor in a haunted house, they would probably have a right to sue because that's not to be expected in a haunted house. Whereas at a water park, they probably couldn't because at a water park, the floor is likely to be wet. And according to that weird stringent of legality at McCamey Manor, you're likely to get beat up. Now, if you're also asking yourself, how can it be legal for people to just beat up someone? I point you to Legal Eagle's video, which I'll put in the description, that addresses that very topic. It's fairly common for people to beat up someone or get beat up, and it all be above board. The example that Legal Eagle used was fighting events. If you've got a boxing fight and someone punches someone else, the cops don't rush to the stage and arrest that guy, although that would be funny, because it's agreed that within the sport, it's acceptable to hit someone.
Hmm.
So, on that same technicality, as long as people are getting pushed to the brink of death on purpose, which is even hard to prove in itself, then there's a solid chance that McCamey Manor is legal. Now, everything I just said has to do with the legality side of it. That's not addressing morality. But again, Russ wanted the show to go on, and it kept going on. Now, during this time, people who were upset because they'd participated under false pretenses began to threaten legal action, so Russ began to tighten the hatches. He began to screen people who wanted to come to the manor, and participants would have to get an approved doctor form saying that they were in good health, and even provide proof of medical insurance. It seems that Russ was trying to cover his bases. However, one base he couldn't cover was the state of California. I will be cold in the dirt before I snitch on someone for tax evasion, but around the end of 2016, it seems that Russ was being hassled by the state for skipping fees. So, Russ packed up everything and moved to Summertown, Tennessee. According to him, Tennessee just so happened to be a land away from California that had available property, so he moved everything east and decided to boot his operation back up. So, to promote this new location and get people invested, he announced that there would be a $20,000 prize for anyone that can make the full trip at McCamey Manor. It seems that the reason Russ added the $20,000 prize is because of Tennessee state law. According to Tennessee law, consent can be removed at any time the participant desires. So even if a waiver is signed, the person can remove their consent from the waiver in that moment. The only caveat being, after the event ordeal has occurred, they can't remove consent after the fact. But that means for anyone in McCamey Manor, it is state law that they have to have a way out. So, reluctantly, McCamey incorporated a safe word. However, if you don't use that safe word and stick it out, you could win $20,000. And despite moving across the country and having to completely shut down his original operation, at this point, the McCamey Manor then the manor became this pinnacle of endurance that you could win an insane cash prize if you were strong enough to conquer it. It was at this time that, according to McCamey, there was up to 17,000 people on a wait list to get into the manor. Because remember, they're only doing this once a week, and as you can imagine, a lot of people want to get bored. I've got my own theories about that wait list, but hang with it for now. It's uncertain exactly when this process began, but at least by this point, the entire experience was individualized. McCamey would interview a participant, ask when their biggest fears were, incorporate them into the scare. So, because of that,
Mm-mm.
every experience was completely different. Now, another secret that McCamey kept very closely guarded was that of the waiver. It was also around this time that the waiver got longer, much longer. According to people who went whenever the chamber first began, it was just a couple of pages that pretty much said, hey, we can beat you up, right? Well, the new waiver that listed every possible outcome of what could happen to you at McCamey Manor was 40 pages long. See, again, you weren't supposed to know what was going to happen to you whenever you stepped into it. So McCamey didn't want people to read the waiver online and figure out all the possible tricks he could play at the manor. So the only way to see the waiver was to sign up and then have McCamey hand it to you in person. That was until the version leaked online in the past couple of years. Now, it would be insane for me to sit here and go through a 40-page waiver and list off all of the possible nightmares you could experience. Hey, so we're going to sit here and go through a 40-page waiver of all the nightmares you could possibly experience. Now, we're not actually going to go through the entirety of the 40 pages. Most of it is just legal ramble and I hereby state and blah, blah, blah. And we're not here for that kind of nonsense. We're here for the torture stuff. Now, a couple things I want to note before we get into it. For one, I am not 100% sure that this is the actual waiver. I'm like 90% sure it is because it leaked online, and after taking the waiver and then cross-checking it with screenshots from participants that leaked online, as well as video clips of people reading the waiver aloud in person with Russ, it seems to match up. And several journalists who received the actual waiver and talked about it corroborate a lot of the stuff seen here. So I'm pretty confident in it, but again, a big allegedly over everything I'm about to say. I'm also going to include a link to this waiver in the description, so if you want to check it out or follow along, you're welcome to. The text has been shrunk a bit, so it compressed down to 23 pages, but like I said, I'm pretty confident in it. It would also help if I explained how the Tennessee location worked so that some of the statements in here make more sense. The stuff I mentioned earlier still applies, but you have to contact Russ individually, and then you get put on a wait list, and then you have to go through all this screening. But once you had sat down with Russ and signed the waiver, you were then told to meet at a pre-designated location, where you were then blindfolded, thrown into the back of a van, tortured for a while in the van while you made your way to the torture location. And then if you could last for like 4 or 5 hours at the Summertown, Tennessee location, there was supposedly another location just over the state line in Alabama that no one ever made it to. I'll explain how I feel about that Alabama location in a little bit, but for now, that should catch you up for what this waiver is talking about. Like I said, a lot of the form in the beginning is just legal stuff like a general release, accidental death and disability, except for the third clause that says participant agrees that if the police are called or appear on scene, that participant acknowledges that this is just a game. Which, according to Russ, was something that happened at the Tennessee location a lot. Bunch of legal stuff. McCamey Manor has interactive video footage. You testify that you're doing this on your own free will, blah, blah, blah. The details start at 17 where it says, participant fully understands that McCamey Manor is an extremely physical and that participant will leave McCamey Manor with bumps, bruises, cuts, and other possible injuries, including possible broken bones. Participant understands that injuries are never on purpose at McCamey Manor, and participant is fully aware of the risks and takes full responsibility. Again, like I said earlier, you may sign something like that at like a rock climbing facility, but at the rock climbing place, I don't think breaking my femur is their objective. Russ was warned numerous times about the intensity of McCamey Manor by the owners and other members of the crew, and that you really don't want to do this. Participant agrees and understands that your life in reality is not in danger, and this is just a game. So that is key.
Mm-hmm.
Participant agrees and understands that during the tour and participant is in the van, they will not be secured by a seatbelt participant understands and agrees that they realize they are not being tortured. This is just a game. Really, participant understands and agrees that they are not being beat up, slugged, or actually physically harmed. You will be roughed up
That's so
before you're
stupid.
gonna hurt you.
Lies.
Knowing that, the gaming manor is very rough and not for the meek. Participant will have bumps, bruises, possible black eyes, swelling of the face, etc. Or it's
Oh,
just an
brother.
outright lie. There are people who are paid to
There we go.
hurt you. Participant understands and agrees they're never being held against their will. We'll get to that. 26 is interesting. Participant understands and agrees that they are aware that this is a live theatrical show, not reality, which is being performed specifically for participants and other guests. Russ talks about that a lot, how the justification for this whole thing is that it's a kind of play or theater, and it's interesting that that moves over into the waiver as well. Participant fully understands that by signing this waiver, they're giving the gaming manor permission to keep nothing off the table except sexual or inappropriate situations, because that would be wrong. Everything else imaginable can and will happen inside of the gaming manor.
Yeah,
You
they're
are
not
aware of this and are
gonna
giving
hurt
full
them.
permission to
Sure.
any action that may happen inside of the gaming manor. Participant agrees to and has full knowledge that if selected to visit the barber, participant may leave the gaming manor completely bald, including eyebrows. That's something I forgot to mention. Shaving people's hair, and in some cases making them eat it, is a big pastime for these guys. Mouse traps will be used. Oh yeah, this one. Participant agrees that if selected, they could be buried alive under 12 feet of dirt and
What the
rocks, in
heck?
which they will have a limited amount of air, and that they will have to figure out how to escape, and they could possibly breathe in a significant amount of dust, dirt, or foreign objects that may cause death if participant does not
Mm.
breathe properly or hold their breath at the right time. Like, yeah, getting buried underground, that's fine.
Hi there. Hello. Oh, hey, wait, before you go, let me share you a scary video that my sister and me watched that I think you would enjoy. Okay. Hold on a second, wait. Oh, there it is, library. How do I share this? Oh, I have to go to the video. There it is. Okay, okay. Here. No problem. Yeah. Yeah, you probably want to listen because some of the stuff is very, yeah. Okay, good luck.
It's traumatic and all, but I like how the waiver specifies the correct way to breathe, what, 3 times? And if you'll notice at this point, there's a lot of misspellings, a lot of incorrect grammar, a lot of weird detail, and I'll talk about that at the end. Participant agrees to partake, if selected to participate, in a height stunt that involves walking a plank 25 feet above ground without a safety net. Participant agrees they will come into contact with poisonous animals. What if they're venomous, Tom? Is that covered in the waiver? Participant agrees and acknowledges that they are responsible, whether they quit an activity or not, for bringing all the equipment and materials back to the van.
Hmm?
You're laying there like teeth missing, broken bones, and it's like, hey, you're gonna help me carry this back because I've got like a bad knee.
So stupid.
And my doctor really said I shouldn't be lifting heavy weights. So, I mean, you signed the waiver. Participant acknowledges and agrees to be submerged in 60 feet of open water. Participant acknowledges and agrees that their breathing apparatus will be removed and that it is participants' responsibility to make their way to the surface on their own.
What
If
the
done
heck?
incorrectly, there's a real chance of the participant drowning or receiving decompression sickness, the bends, which could
Oof.
cause permanent injury or even death. Where's this guy getting 60 feet deep pools and 25-foot, what was that, like an aerial surface where you have to walk without a safety net? And also saying this live burial thing, it is a lot of description on how to not die. There's mentions of the save phrase that we'll get to more specifically in a minute. There is a clause that says participants understand and agree that they will absolutely face cuts, severe bruising, and or swelling due to open hand striking on their face, and clause about electrical simulation because of course, and then clause 39 is interesting. It says participant understands for this specific show only that participant is being offered a safe phrase. It is up to the participant to use this phrase due to their weakness if they feel they need such a weak precaution as a safe phrase. And then a yes or no check indicating if the person wants a safe phrase or not. Now, from watching the way that Russ discusses this phrase whenever he's going over the waiver with someone, he highly implies to them that they need the safe phrase, even though the waiver kind of accuses them of being weak and pathetic if they choose to have one. But all of that's void because if you'll remember, part of the state law is that he has to have a safe phrase. So why, if it's required, is there even this clause asking if you want one or not? As a matter of fact, whenever someone refuses a safe phrase in person, Russ makes them have one anyway. So what's this purpose of a clause calling someone weak if they're going to get a safe phrase whether they want it or not? And we'll get to that. Come into contact with raw sewage, lovely. And then clause 41. Participant agrees that their entire tour will be viewed by a live audience in Las Vegas, the Philippines, and or Thailand, and that they will act appropriately. That clause is a whole 21. I skipped ahead there. Throughout the 40s, there's a lot of stuff about accidental injury, but 50 says participant fully understands and agrees that once participant enters McCamey Manor, there is no quitting unless serious physical or psychological injury is present. But again, the waiver seems to contradict itself at points because here it's saying that there's no stopping unless it's absolutely necessary, but in another part it says that a safe phrase will get you out of it. Participant fully understands and agrees they may be crushed in a pit by various objects. Anyway, participant fully understands and agrees that they may be fish hooked, which may inadvertently cause rippage to
What
the
the
mouth.
heck?
Rippage the word, I guess. For those that don't know, being fish
Rippage.
hooked is when someone grabs your cheek and like pulls it from the inside, which is actually something that happens a lot, oddly enough, in
Really?
McCamey Manor
Oh.
in normal day-to-day life. Participant fully understands and agrees that if they are selected to visit the dentist, that they may have a tooth extracted without Novocaine and will not hold McCamey Manor liable. Ignore the
What?
use of the word libel. Threatening to pull your
What?
teeth is something that Russ likes to do a lot. Participant fully understands and agrees that they will be participating in various medieval torture devices, such as knife throwing while strapped to a spinning wheel, shackles, chains, gibbet cage, stocks, the rack, etc.
Oh my
This is
gosh.
just a big carnival. It's got a giant pool, it's got elaborate air stunts, and now someone's going to throw knives at a spinning wheel. Participant fully understands that they may be bruised by paintballs. Pride's on the line. 62
That's
says
like the
participant fully
least
understands and agrees that
dangerous
MK
one.
Ultra mind control may be used. MK Ultra mind control. Okay.
Why not
Participant
just say
fully
mind
agrees that a
control?
nail may pierce their hand. Guess Russ is on the crucifying people now. Fingernail removal. And then participant fully understands and agrees that medication may be given that induces hallucinations or sedatives given in a pill form or by hypodermic at McCamey Manor's discretion. Tattoo and piercing, choking may occur, and vomiting may occur. Participant fully understands and agrees that McCamey Manor will use humiliation tactics such as name calling. Those monsters. Participant fully understands and agrees that they may be in an enclosed chamber with live animals, which may include mice, rats, roaches, tarantulas, millipedes, centipedes, snakes, spiders, potato bugs,
Ew.
worms, larvae, snails, slugs, grubs, crickets, etc. Entrance is
Ow.
underground in a toilet, lovely. Participant fully understands and agrees that when they are taken hostage in the first moments of the tour, that it is extremely physical and daunting, and participant will receive bumps, bruises, possible sprains or broken bones, black eyes, etc., and participant will not hold McCamey Manor responsible or liable. That's like the third time it's mentioned you're going to get a black eye. Participant confirms that they have never been arrested or incarcerated for a felony. Why do you care? You're like a conversation away from a couple dozen charges. But if a guy ever smoked the devil's lettuce, then he doesn't get the privilege of getting beat up by me. Tragic, I know. Participant confirms they are not wanted by law enforcement. Owners and actors may vary. Participant confirms that they are not involved with law enforcement and are not participant requests the cord to stop and
Oh, hold on. I thought I had the audio on, but if it's too quiet, I can turn it up.
to leave McCamey Manor, participant
Is it
agrees
too
to
quiet?
hold the cord
Because I do
continuously,
have it
no
on.
matter what participant may say at any time of their panic state of mind. Again, more contradictions with stuff that was mentioned earlier. Moving on.
Here, I'll
Not
turn
to
it up
mention,
more.
there's no stopping
There we
until
go.
they say so.
That should be enough, I
Participant
think.
fully understands that at many times during their tour, they will be in a panic state of anxiety, in which they will feel they will drown and that they may die. Participant completely gives permission to McCamey Manor to put themselves in those situations. I like how it reads as if the sentence is going to end with participant recognizes that these situations are fake or whatever, but instead it just says, hey, you may drown. That's cool, right? More clauses saying you don't want to do this. There's a mention that the participant will not take legal action, as well as one that says the video footage of the participant's time in McCamey Manor will never be handed over, even through legal action. But that's just completely not true, because if he...
Why is it so quiet? That's bizarre. I have the volume full on the video, so let me see. I wonder, okay, I want to test something. Does it go according to the volume I have on my computer, or does it go according to what I have listed? So right now it's listed at 10, or I mean, the sound I have universally is at 10 because I can't listen to very loud things, but I can hear it pretty good. However, most normal people, it's not like that. So I'm going to turn it up to 30, and I want you to tell me if you can hear it now. And this will be based on what my computer's volume is now.
He is subpoenaed to hand over the tapes. What's he going to do? Be like, well, the waiver clearly states, continuing on, and yes, it's a different time of day, don't worry about it. Release a videotape and informing the participant that they will receive no money for it.
Okay,
Or a
tell me if
copy
that
of the
changed
waiver,
anything.
even if legally requested.
Okay. Okay. Volume on the program instead. Alright, so what I'll do instead is I'll change it to the desktop audio. I have it now at half. So maybe you can hear it.
Which again, doubt. More stuff about
Alright,
you're not
how's
getting
that?
out until we
Is that a
say you
little
get
bit more?
out. That's like the 4th time now. Participant having spent time with Russ McCamey and other staff of McCamey Manor and through other people and what participant has read, know that Russ McCamey and the staff of McCamey Manor truly has my best intentions at all times.
There we go.
Really? Participant fully understands and agrees that Russ McCamey and the staff
Yeah,
of
see,
McCamey
that's
Manor
definitely
run
something
a
I
very
still...
clean and positive show. No sexual
turn it down
or religious
slightly.
situations, and even that cussing from the
Alright, just put it
participant
down like
is not allowed
half,
inside McCamey Manor.
like
Remember,
maybe
war crimes are acceptable,
0.5
but no
5
swearing in this
decibels.
Christian Minecraft server. More stuff about being crushed in a pit and eating gross stuff. This is all standard at this point. Participant agrees that they will be in very close contact with fire surrounding their entire body,
And here's the
with the
video,
real
it's from
possibility
Wendigoon.
of getting burned or possible death. Participant agrees that if they
So
are
another
selected,
spooky
they may
channel.
participate in a stunt involving a liquid such as quicksand, and it is participants' responsibility to remain calm and stay on top of the quicksand. There is a possibility that drowning may exist.
Oh,
You know how,
stupid.
like, when we were kids, we would watch TV shows and, like, quicksand was a reoccurring theme. So if you're like me, you would game, like,
Yikes.
all right, if I'm ever in quicksand, I'm supposed to spread my body out and blah, 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 but we grew up and quicksand is like
The dog's
not
gonna
the
go
daily
crazy.
occurrence.
I might need to pause this for a little bit. Holy crap. He's downstairs and he's still that loud. Oh my gosh. Ah, okay, good idea. All right, let me see. So the
We once
volume
thought it was.
is like
Well, see, that's where
here,
life
almost
tricks you
equal to
because
me.
it was actually preparing you for McCamey Manor.
There, I
It's
have it
got
kind
all
of
of
in
it stashed
between.
up. Which now that I say it out loud, this guy does kind of strike me as a cartoon villain. All right, now we're just off the wall. Participant agrees that if selected to participate in Houdini's Chinese water torture apparatus, which will include being submerged upside down by your ankles with a straitjacket in a cylinder with live moray eels. There is a real possibility of drowning if participant is unable to control their breath. Being put in a pit with rats, participant agrees to participate in a high-speed barrel roll where the participant will be inside a 55-gallon drum as the barrel rolls down a severely steep mountain. It is participants' responsibility to secure themselves inside the drum in order to not receive serious injury. The drum will end in a 10-foot pond. Now, notice that too, that there's nothing about how the pond is related to the waiver, it's just informing the person signing it that they will then be underwater. This might be my favorite of the entire waiver. Participant agrees that if selected, they will have to swim 200 yards underwater in a makeshift sewer system with several obstacles and traps blocking their way. It is participants' responsibility to hold their breath while navigating the underwater maze. We're leaving the realm
Underwater
of the
maze,
horror
yeah,
house and
right.
entering like Doofenshmirtz contraptions. Now this one's an important point that'll come up later. Participant acknowledges that even though participant has decided to quit the tour, talking about the safe word, the tour will from that point slowly ramp down to continue with the illusion for film purposes. This may include roughing up, participants' head underwater, choking, actors harassing participants, slapping until the walk of shame begins. As Russ explains this clause in person, he sets it up as if it's to keep the movie going for those watching, but we'll talk about what that actually means in practice. In short, it means you're not done until they say you're done. 23 and 24 are saying if there's any items on the list that are completely off limits, and from testimonies of people who like talked to us and went through the process, apparently you get to pick like 2 scenarios that are completely off the table. Like if you have a super fear of
Oh,
suffocation
hello.
or something similar.
What
But
is?
you
What are
supposedly
those
can only pick
rainbows?
2. So I want to ask you all, out of everything I've mentioned and other possibilities, what's your 2 no-goes? What are the 2, out of everything I've mentioned, the 2 things that are too far? For me, I think it would have to be the swearing. Participant acknowledges and agrees that they will receive hundreds of welts from a paintball gun. I don't know why the paintball gun had to come up twice. Participant will be given a safe phrase. If participant uses this safe phrase, the tour will stop, slowly come to a stop, but harassment, yeah, that's how that's worded, shoving, etc., will continue until participant completes their walk of shame. Again, lining up with the thing that was mentioned, where even though you say the safe word, they pretty much decide when it's over. Participant acknowledges that even though they have quit the tour, participant will still be hooded until drop off, and even though participant is in the ramp down mode, their hair may still be cut. Lovely. Participant acknowledges and agrees that they are agreeing to participate in McCamey Manor's extinction for up to 36 hours, which McCamey Manor is permitted to continue with the game at any point in that 36-hour window.
36?
Out of all the stuff
Why?
I've seen, I haven't heard of a game coming close to that long. 9.5 hours is the max. But yeah, a day and a half of this torment sounds fun. And after that, a bunch of basic signature, confidentiality, blah, blah, blah. Fun part's over. So, to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag, now that we've gone through that whole waiver of all the stuff that can possibly happen to you, I'll go ahead and tell you the waiver's fake. And no, this waiver isn't fake on the internet.
Oh.
I'm pretty certain it's the one McCamey's using. I mean, as Russ uses it, it's a farce. For one, any lawyer could tear this thing to pieces. Not only is there contradictions between a safe word and it ends when they say it does, but there's so many grammar mistakes and misspellings that there's no way this would hold up. Furthermore, for several of the topics mentioned, that's not how a waiver works. Like, yeah, as I explained, he could probably get away with the hitting and a lot of the constraints that happen to people during the tour because
that's within the reasonable links of an extreme haunts waiver. But when he mentions like shooting you up with hallucinogenics, you can't do that just because it's on a piece of paper. Again, physical violence is kind of a gray area, but you can't murder someone by suffocating them with a plastic bag or shoot up hallucinogenics into them and just say it's okay because there's paperwork. Like if I was caught smoking marijuana and the police show up and they're like, all right, you're under arrest, and I'm like, not to worry, officer, I have a waiver. You can't just do crime because you and someone else agree that you should. So if it's fake, then what's the point of the waiver? And the point is, just like the majority of everything else McCamey does, it's a scare tactic. Think about it. You have signed up to take on the most extreme haunted house that has ever existed. So much so that you get 20 grand if you can make it through it. So you talk to the guy, you do Skype calls, and then you meet him in person, and then he sits down and hands you a piece of paper that says you're going to have hallucinogenics shot into you, that your hair's going to be shaved, that you're going to have teeth removed. People are going to be watching and betting on you from Vegas as if it's some kind of dark web red room. I mean, come on, the stuff about walking on a 25-foot platform and like jumping into a 60-foot pool. This guy built this stuff in like a shed. The entire point of it is to manipulate you into thinking that anything you could imagine can happen. And whenever you watch the actual videos, it's clear that the majority of the abuse is just getting dunked in water or getting slapped around, and that's it. Now, I'm not saying that to minimize those activities. It's still horrific that that happens, especially because, as mentioned earlier, several people signed up to this not knowing what they were getting themselves into. But here, the manipulation's going the opposite direction. You think you're getting yourself into these extreme life or death scenarios, and while it's certainly imaginable someone could be killed at McCamey Manor,
they are just asking to have someone die or have a heart attack. What happens if someone dies during their tour? A waiver won't mean anything. We have had one heart attack, for real. 7 years ago, we had a heart attack. That was good stuff.
It's not going to come from Houdini water escape.
Okay.
It's probably going to come from drowning in a bucket or something lame. It also lets McCamey counter a lot of the arguments against him online. As I mentioned, the most atrocious thing is the idea that someone can show up and not know what's about to happen to them. So now if he goes the complete opposite direction, anytime someone enters with a criticism like, I don't know, don't beat people, he can point and say, well, they agreed to all this, slapping and cutting a few times shouldn't have been a big deal. And it doubles down on the manipulation of having the participant feel that they signed up for it. Which, true, while some people I do think legitimately knew what they were doing and then did it of their own accord, I mean, a lot of people come back for a second or third visit. I would also venture to say a lot of people who signed up for it probably aren't in the greatest shape of mind, and this waiver could be seen as a false justification for Russ's actions. Now, it was around this time, again the same period of time
Oh,
when
thank
the
you.
manor was as popular as it ever had been, that detractors of the manor
I
were
haven't done
also
any
as
of those
popular
things,
as
so
they
thank
ever
you.
had been. There were website petitions to get this entire thing shut down. To this day, there is a subreddit that is consistently
You'll know when
praying
I'm
for this
stretching
man's
when you
downfall.
hear
And a lot of the behavior Russ
popping
has during
like
this
this.
time period
Wait, hold
of
on.
2016 to 2019 is
Oh,
kind of a
I need
counter
to take
to
these
that.
off for
One
a
of the
second.
details of McCamey Manor that gets brought up a lot is Russ's Facebook group. He has a Facebook group that at one point had over 20,000 members who pretty much just worship the ground the guy walks on. Like he has these massive fans of people
Okay,
who have
there's
never been or
another.
have no interest in going to the manor, but
There.
I guess from what it looks like to me, people have kind of interpreted Russ
Alright.
being attacked for,
I'm gonna
good
try to do
reasons
a little bit longer
as
and then
some weird form of cancel
I need to
culture,
stop.
which is kind of a false equivalency, but
Thank
I
you.
won't get into all of that. I'm here to talk about
Thank you for the reminders, that's very
the
helpful.
weird torture stuff. But as the critics were building, the weird torture stuff started to
Oh,
change.
hello there.
It's in my opinion, again watching videos of Rust
What's
and
that?
testimonies from even people who worked at the manor, that during this time he started to get kind of bitter, or at least more bitter than he had been. And a lot of the videos and
Okay, I
content
need to
that he
switch between
produced
programs. Hold on.
was made
Let me
as
see
a
if,
middle finger to people who didn't like him. One of the best
close
examples of this
this
is in
guy.
one of the final videos uploaded to the original
No,
McCamey
I don't
Manor
wanna close
YouTube
that.
account. There's 2 YouTube accounts. He claims the first one was hacked or something. There's a video titled Portrait of a Mole, which is this 6-hour
It's freezing?
video, and you guys
Okay.
thought my videos were long, where McCamey
Let me
says
make sure
that
this shows.
someone who signed up to come to the manor
There we
was
go.
actually
Some reason
a
Photoshop
mole
is
from the
microscopic.
haters on Facebook who was trying to
What the
get the
heck?
inside scoop of what happens at the manor. Now, this is
Lock
weird for
this.
several reasons. For one, the idea
Select
that
this.
someone thinks this
There
guy's
we
running
go.
a torture dungeon,
No.
so they decide to sign up
There
for
we
the
go.
torture dungeon. But also, what would they need to come in to
Hey
expose?
there, how's it
Russ
going?
talks about that a lot, how he's afraid of sting operations, but everything that he does, which isn't even as bad as what's listed on the waiver, is uploaded to
Here
the
we go.
YouTube page. There's no need for someone to
That
experience it
should
firsthand
work.
to have evidence of what he's doing.
And then
Regardless, in that video, he kind of
stretch.
interrogates the guy whenever they're going over the waiver to figure out if he's a mole or something. And he sets up this whole narrative where he says that the guy was
There we
meeting
go.
a contact the night before he showed up to meet Russ, and that they were putting together this whole plan
There.
to take him down. So once they get him in the van, because if you remember, they transport people from the van to the Summertown location. As they're torturing him in the van, after about half an hour,
File
the guy
view.
taps out and uses a safe word. Well,
Why
in
is it
the
not
video,
fitting to
Russ makes
edit?
the point that this guy
Preview, scale
doesn't
to window.
deserve to
There
get
we
let
go.
off
That's
easy.
what I wanted
So
to
even
see.
though the guy used the safe word, they continue to torture him for like
How's it going, everyone? I'm gonna work for another like 12 to 15-ish minutes. And then need to go eat again. Ugh, why do I have to eat multiple times a day? That sucks. Just kidding. And in the meantime, listening to someone else talk about McCamey Manor. I don't know if you've heard of it
3
before,
hours,
but there's
to the degree
tons
that
of
when
stuff
he comes out of it,
on
his
it.
face
Oh
is red
my
and swollen.
gosh. Yikes. It's basically like real life, kind of legal torture happening at these haunted houses. It's kind of died down in popularity, but it's still pretty,
They transport people from the van to the
It's still
Summertown
going.
location. As they're torturing him in the van, after about half an hour, the guy taps out and uses the safe word. Well, in the video, Russ makes the point that this guy doesn't deserve to get let off easy. So even though the guy used the safe word, they continue to torture him for like 3 hours.
What the
To the
heck?
degree that when he comes out of it, his face is red and swollen.
What a
And
jerk.
it looks like this guy was
They
one
just let him
of
get
the
beat
worst
up.
cases I've seen out of everything.
Oh,
through the
poor
And then at
thing.
the end of
Looks
the
like a
video,
red balloon.
Russ posts videos of this guy, his name's Jeremy, where Jeremy says that he's going to take legal action and that it's true that he was a hater who was looking to take down Russ this entire time. But from everything I've looked up and been able to find, this never amounted to anything other than this angry video that's only seen at the end of Russ's channel, and supposedly was posted throughout Russ's Facebook group, but the Facebook group, as you could imagine, is guarded like a gate for some reason. D'Angelo Wallace made a fantastic video where he managed to get in and see a few of the things they talk about.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's weird to say the least. Now, this whole scenario felt fishy to me.
Okay, I'm
For
gonna
one,
put...
It's weird that
Oh, they are
this
under
Jeremy guy, as I
references.
mentioned, would go through all this for
So I
proof.
can lock this.
And it's also a
hide.
bad idea if Russ is trying to
Wait.
prove his innocence, that he would show that he was breaking the law on camera by not letting the guy leave
There we
and
go.
continuing to beat him up for a while. Essentially saying, oh, you don't like the manor? Well, we'll continue with the assault and battery until you change your mind. Well, along that train of thought, and I
Yeah.
can't confirm this,
Okay.
but there's a bunch of people
Interesting.
online who say that Jeremy was paid off by Russ, and that this whole scenario of him being a hater who came in from outside to try to expose him was just something that Russ made up for the cameras.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've talked about a lot before, a lot of what Russ does is for the showmanship of it. That's why throughout the waiver and throughout all of his interviews, he talks about the importance of capturing good footage. And this also, again, ties back into the psychological warfare that he's playing on everyone outside of the manor. Because now, if you're someone who hates it, this is supposed to instill fear in you that you won't mess with Russ, because he's a real dangerous guy. Again, as if you couldn't catch that from the hundreds of hours of torture videos. This whole smoke and mirrors tactic is something that Russ uses a lot, not only on people outside of the manor, but people who are participating in it as well. Remember that thing in the document about MK Ultra will be used on you? while that's a very stupid way to phrase it, Russ does use a lot of manipulation tactics. For example, in the document, it mentions how if you are chosen to see the dentist, you will have a tooth pulled. Well, there's clips of people supposedly having their teeth pulled on the YouTube channel. But whenever you watch these clips, you can clearly see that they have a fake tooth as a prop. However, the participant thinks that their tooth's
Okay.
actually been pulled. I mean,
I
think
shouldn't
about
have
it. You've been
closed
roughed
that
up,
yet.
you've been blindfolded, you read on a
There's
waiver
mistakes.
that you're going to have your
Mistakes are
tooth
not
pulled. So
allowed.
whenever you feel a plier go into your mouth and then see a guy holding a tooth, you would logically think that you lost a tooth. He does the same thing when it comes to fingernail removal or eating a lot of disgusting living animals.
Yikes.
Although, trust me, there's a fair amount of real gross eating too.
Can
just
I
not the
put
extent that he says. Like, for
TIFF
example,
images in
remember
here?
that detail in the waiver where it said that this is going to be live streamed to people in Vegas? That comes from accusations he was getting online where people were saying, oh, I bet the way he makes his
What
money
else can I
is it's
fix?
in these dark web red rooms. Which, for one, aren't real, and two, if you watch the McCamey videos, he's recording the whole thing with like a GoPro and a Walmart microphone. There is no way this guy is live streaming the footage and then taking live bets to see how long this person lasts. But as long as rumors started up that he was live streaming them overseas,
Okay, that
he
looks like
just
the
leaned
biggest
into it and started saying, yeah, and not
area
only
that's
that,
messed up.
but they bet and then give me money to do certain things to them and blah, blah, blah. Because it all leads into the illusion or the show of the scare. In a lot of the videos I watched at the Tennessee location, he would get people in these big trenches of water and mud and tell them that they have to find their way out because there's crocodiles in the water. But this guy doesn't have crocodiles in the middle of Tennessee. It's, again, all just a farce to encourage the show.
I
And
forgot to
another
do this.
aspect of that manipulation is the $20,000. Remember, the $20,000 reward only showed up after he moved to the Tennessee location. And from there, the entire show was completely different. However, that
Oh
insinuation
wait, can
of
I even
money
do that
got a lot
in
of
this?
people interested. However,
find
it
out.
seems like that was fake as well. The longest guy who ever made it at McCamey Manor was a career Marine by the name of Russell J. Now, the video of Russell was uploaded to the YouTube channel in April of 2016. This is right on the verge of whenever the manor would have transferred from San Diego to Tennessee.
Is there no
So
option to have
I'm not 100%
background color?
positive this was after the money was on the table, but according to a lot of people who talk about this and are more enveloped in the research of it than I am, this was after the money became a deal. So in Russell's video, he lasts about 9.5 hours through the entire experience.
Grid colors, there we
Theoretically, he
go.
only has
Wait,
half
no.
an hour to go, and he will be the first person to complete McCamey Manor and get his 20 grand. And while in the video it looks like Russell's in a bad place, I assure you, pretty much everyone who's in McCamey Manor for more than 10 minutes looks like they're in a bad place. He seems to be doing pretty well. He's still cognitive,
Where
he's still
is the-
talking, and even though he's shivering, he says he's good to finish out. Well, Russ decides that this is unacceptable and the guy's got hypothermia, and he just ends the show. Russell is continually saying that he's fine and he can keep going, but Russ calls it off. And then, whenever you look at a lot of the other shows Russ puts on, that seems to be a common occurrence. Remember how I said that at the Tennessee location there's supposedly a second location in Alabama that you can make it to if you can survive the entire, 4 or 5 hours or half the night at the Tennessee location? Well, no one's ever made it to the Alabama location. And while Russ would have you believe that's because the show's so intense, that's because he always calls it off. Anytime someone makes it for a few hours, and again, while not doing the best, can keep going, Russ always cuts it off, stating that they're going to fall apart soon, or they've got hypothermia, or some other arbitrary excuse so the show doesn't have to keep going. It's in my opinion, as the opinion of many others, that he never intended to give out $20,000, he never intended for there to be an Alabama location, and he never intended for it to be any more than gross food, bugs, a lot of bruises, black eyes, punching, and water torture. Which, again, very bad, but not the spectacle he makes it out to be. Megan Selling of the Nashville Scene did a very long article where she was present while a couple of people were going through the Tennessee location. And she did a fantastic job interviewing Russ as well as the participants and getting a
Okay, I need to look at this real quick.
Hello everyone and welcome to this Illustrator quick tip tutorial. Today I'm going to show you 2 ways of quickly changing your artboard background color.
Okay,
So
yeah.
the first way,
Yeah.
we go to File, we go to Document Setup, and right here, we click on this box, and this is where we choose our background color.
Which one?
We're gonna give
Which
it-
box? Show me which box. Huh. What does this box
a
mean?
pastel teal on this box, and this we go to Document Setup, and right here we click on this box, and this is where we choose our background color. We're going to give it a pastel teal color, like that. You press OK, and then you have to check this box, simulate colored paper. Once we press that, OK, we've changed our background color.
Mm-hmm. There we go. There. I just need it enough so I can see. There we go. Thank you, thank you.
Feel of what the manor's about. And she ends the article on the note, here's the thing, there is no $20,000. There's no Cayman named Ralphie, there's no quicksand-like mud that will swallow you whole, and McCamey will certainly never slather your body in flame-retardant gel and lock you in an incinerator somewhere in Huntsville, Alabama. None of that is real. What McCamey has is a story. A good one, fiendish and fascinating. It's the promise of impossible adventure. It's the opportunity to break free of your personal boundaries, your mundane day-to-day, and embrace the opportunity to surprise yourself by testing your limits. And all it costs is a bag of dog food and maybe your eyebrows. No one has ever completed a full McCamey Manor tour. That's not for lack of trying, it's by design. A full stay lasts about 10 excruciating hours, McCamey says, and no one has even made it to the supposed Huntsville portion of the show. McCamey knows what will break people, and after stringing them along with some fake blood, gnarly props, and a silly afternoon of wall
Something's
sits
weird
and Elton John songs,
about this.
he can simply pull out what's needed to shut the show down when he's ready for it to end. Which doesn't take long. McCamey says the average time spent at the Summertown McCamey Manor location is just 8 minutes. I had to ask, has anyone gotten the $20,000 prize, or any money? Oh, Megan, surely you jest, McCamey says with a laugh. Of course not, and they never will, because it's so mentally and physically challenging, but it will be the most exciting thing you've ever done. Again, McCamey would have you believe it's because the manor's so terrifying, but in actuality, it's just not there. So there is no mind control, there is no alligator maze, there is no 25-foot drop. It's just a guy who knows how to use a little bit of suggestion and a lot of violence in order to make you think whatever he wants you to think. So once information like this started to come out, along with Russ's growing anger towards the supposed haters, things at the manor started to taper off. For one, even employees who were by Russ's side for a long time started to say that they were tired of him and that he's become too malicious with his actions at the manor.
I was actually an actor. I've known Russ for a couple years.
Don't do that.
And I used to be an actor, but it kind of, the manners changed. Can I please be interviewed
Shut it. Sell them out.
without you interrupting?
Sell them out.
I used to do it for the love of the haunt, for the love of scaring people, and it just got a little out of control. I think Russ is kind of unstable.
That's not true. No,
I think Russ is unstable, and I don't feel
He's
comfortable
interrupting
alone with
her
him
the whole time
anymore.
she's talking.
I think he's sadistic and he's
Sick.
off his knocker. Yeah, he's crazy.
And you keep us here and you blackmail us. So it's fucking bullshit.
You know what?
Yeah,
That's bullshit.
I'm with you.
That's not true. That's not true.
I used to defend him because he's such a nice. He came off as such a nice guy. But then we all have our crazy sides, and we all have our crazy sides. All as actors, I'm just a little afraid, to be honest, and especially with all the haters and death threats and bomb threats and all the legal stuff. I'm kind of worried for my life.
And while we can't be sure exactly what led to it, it seems by 2019 or 2020, Russ was running the entire show by himself. In interviews he did whenever COVID lockdown started, he explains that there weren't really any restrictions he had to follow because it was just him.
What's been different with the COVID world? Are you still operating?
Oh yeah, still operating. it's not really any difference for me because it's a single one-man show. It's just me. I don't have actors, so I don't need to worry about them.
And then whenever you watch the videos from this time period, it goes from a torture maze to like weird manual labor. Like it's just Russ telling people to carry heavy objects, and that's it. But Russ still kept up the idea that this was the great McCamey Manor with all of its terror and horror to boot. When in actuality, watching the videos, it's just sad. Not that the manor fell apart, I think that was a service for humanity, but more so watching this play out of just a guy in a field with a barrel for some reason. But the Facebook group was still going, and Russ was supposedly still taking on new attendees. Which, by the way, I feel like the waitlist was fake as well. Reason being, every account I've heard always has some story where they heard about the manor, they applied that week, and then like 2 days later, Russ would say something like, hey, the person who was doing it this weekend dropped out. Do you want to do it? Which, like, that's not how a waitlist works. If there's 17,000 people in line, you don't jump to the front because someone backed out. I think that the wait list was to encourage this feeling of FOMO and get more people on board, when in actuality, Russ was just taking whoever he can. I have no proof of that, I just think it's very convenient that everyone who asked to come on board was able to do it in like a week or two. Anyway, the show continued, and the final remnants of what the show was, which we're getting to that, can be seen on the McCamey Manor website, where he goes over all of the requirements, how terrible everything will be, and essentially reliving the glory days. So as a last hurrah to see where this ended up at, let's take a look at the website. Hi, so it's daytime again. Don't worry about it, because who needs sleep when I have you all? So whenever you come to the homepage of McCameyManor.com, you're presented with this, where it says McCamey Manor presents Descent. There was a lot of phases to it, especially after the Tennessee move, that I can only kind of describe as movies. Like when you go through the new YouTube channel, you can see that how a lot of them are called McCamey Manor presents Extinction, presents And Then There Were None, presents Desolation, or at least the trailer for it. So as far as I know, Descent's just referring to a film project. At the bottom, it says playing on Netflix, Dark Tourist Episode 8, and Haunters, The Art of the Scare. I watched Haunters, Art of the Scare. A lot of the information you see from the early days of the manor in San Diego come from that movie. And Haunters covers a lot of home haunts with a focus on McCamey Manor, which a lot of people are mad that it was included or considered a home haunt at all, you know, with good reason. And then Dark Tourist Episode 8 is like one of the last pieces of outside media from the McCamey timeline, because it's about a tourist who comes to the US and tries out a bunch of spooky stuff, and the episode ends with him going to McCamey Manor, and he's doing the tour with one other guy, and it looks like it's just McCamey hosting it with maybe one or two other people helping out. And while yeah, it's still bad, it's again not the grand spectacle that the manor's made out to be online. When you go to the contact information, this is profoundly sad. This picture here of McCamey as a kid with a Frankenstein is kind of heartbreaking, but I'll talk about that here in the end. Also, the layout of the site is cute. You've got like this neon colored weird chalkboard font, and then all of the important text is blue on a like yellow brown background with no border. But the requirements to get in, we've pretty much gone over all of them at this point. 21 and above, or 18 to 20 with parents' approval, which imagine your parents signing off on this. Now, son, you may not be old enough to drink or buy a handgun, but if you want to join the military or sign up for Chinese water torture, you have my blessing. Completed sports physical and doctor's letters stating you are physically and mentally cleared. If your doctor signs off on this, you need a new one. Pass a background check. Be screened via Facebook, FaceTime, or phone. Proof of medical insurance. Sign a detailed 40-page waiver, and pass a portable drug test on the day of the show. To my understanding, there are some drug tests that you can test on the day of with a urine sample, but for the vast majority of drug tests, it would need to be sent off with a lab. So the day of drug test is just, again, another scare tactic. Also, speaking of the Facebook group, it seems in a lot of the haunts that happened later in the McCamey Manor life cycle, you had to do homework in order to be allowed on. And I want to restate, earlier I said the wait list was fake. And more specifically, what I mean by that is I don't think it was 17,000 people. I think during the peak time of the manor, there was at least a few people in line, as seen from a lot of the interviews he conducted. But there was also this period of time where you had to like do these weird on-camera tasks for Facebook. Like in the Portrait of a Mole video I was talking about, the guy had to dress up in a bunny costume and go around in public and like get kisses from random people. And then he was supposed to show up to meet McCamey in that bunny suit, and then he ended up doing the tour in the bunny suit. A lot of people are told to do it in weird costumes, just side note. So I guess these were done for either McCamey and the Facebook group's amusement or to prove loyalty or something. Desolation has its own tab, as you can see on the
Oh my
YouTube
gosh, that
channel.
website
it is
looks
the
horrible.
last video that was uploaded, or at least the trailer for it.
Very
so again,
bad.
I guess film kind of project, sort of
what do you
greatest
call
hits collection, lovely. As a matter
Like
of
very
fact, it
old
seems like the
website
last
style,
update for
very not
McCamey
polished
Manor
at all.
was done at the end of 2019, because that's not only when the last videos were uploaded to the YouTube channel, and on the site as well, it also says Desolation's coming soon, which on YouTube was the end of 2019. But on the warning section, it's hyping up the 2020 release of McCamey Manor. New for 2020, McCamey Manor presents Descent, the next evolution in interactive survival horror theater. Understand that each tour will be different based upon your personal fears and can last up to 6 hours. Each guest will be mentally and physically challenged until you reach your personal breaking point. It even says at the bottom here, you will be tested to your very core. If things become too much, you can always quit if we let you. I like how
That's
it's
so
still taunting
stupid.
you on the sign over here. Not recommended if you are pregnant, claustrophobic, have seizures, heart or respiratory conditions, or are a big wimp. It seems from some of the videos that he had workers for time to time near the end of the manor's life cycle, but again, not as much as it used to be. Oh my word, there's a merchandise page. Is this going to give me a virus? Is that the merchandise? Computer virus? Oh, they have a Redbubble? Of course they do. Is this just his face?
What the heck? Wow, he's so
It
full of
is.
himself.
Okay. Fellas, imagine you pull up to the event wearing this shirt. You should be arrested on principle. Most of these are just like shots of people being tortured. This is so bizarre. Because like not only is it about like an incredibly dark subject matter, but like the black text over just this color so you can barely read it. It's just like some meme dump. I don't know. This is a weird alternate reality to be in. On location hours, the last update again is for 2020, where it says they were still doing one show per week. Oh, there's a frequently asked questions. Perfect. The times keep changing too, because sometimes it's a 10-hour trip, sometimes it's 8. In the last few, it was saying 6. I also guess every year it wasn't just the movie that was titled it, he would also revamp the design, because here he's referring to Descent as the name of the haunt itself, like the seasonal scare within McCamey Manor. Is McCamey Manor handicap accessible? Yes!
What the heck? Like that matters.
I guess you don't need to walk to get thrown down a ditch. Now that I think about it, maybe it has to be, because you may be unable to walk coming out. We do not allow foul language, pushing, vulgar behavior, weapons of any kind, smoking, drugs, alcohol, etc. We have a list of rules that must be adhered to, and a waiver form must be completed for your own safety and the safety of the other guest. Violation of these rules means you will be asked to leave. So no bad words as you're being
I don't know what
followed.
happened to the
Photo
circle.
gallery that I cannot show on YouTube. And then you have a list of a ton of the movies and YouTube movies. And then finally a message of, you really don't want to do this with a picture that I cannot show on YouTube. So as we see, the last time that the website was updated was late 2019, early 2020. So what happened to the manor after that? Who knows? Legitimately, it looks like it just kind of disappeared. From what it looks like, it seems the Facebook group is still up, But there's been no activity on the YouTube channel, no activity on the website, and according to all the people I've seen who are trying to figure out what's happening at the manor, there's been no word from McCamey since. According to people who live near the area, apparently he just stopped doing it. Some people say that perhaps COVID caused him to lose business and he couldn't afford to keep it up, because while, again, he didn't take money for it, there were a lot of people who would donate to him for hosting the event. But according to Russ, other than that and his retirement fund, there wasn't any other way he was making income. And I'm not gonna dox the guy or give you hints as to track him down, but some people online with some pretty decent evidence have said that it seems McCamey is now working at a business. So if he's doing that, it seems that perhaps the rumors are true and the manor's not hosting any more haunts. It would certainly explain why the website and YouTube channel are dead now. And also, while I was trying to figure out what happened to McCamey recently, I came across this interview with Jason Blum, or Bloom, whatever, the guy who runs Blumhouse, the big horror movie production company. And in an interview, he said this.
Oh, by the way, you have something new that you're working on that we were talking about before the show. Can you say what that is?
Yes, I do. It's called. I'm going to forget the name of it. I'm going to forget the name of it. It's a haunted house that a guy. This is a real haunted house that a guy. It was an attraction, and you had to fill out all this paperwork to do it, and it was like X-rated times 10. And it turned out the guy was actually kind of actually torturing people and has been arrested for it. Yeah, and it's
This is a real story.
This is a real story. Rise and Fall of McCamey Manor.
And you're doing
we have no rights to do this. So the lawyer said, don't announce it. I said, I don't care. I am announcing it because we're going to get the rights. And I love it.
I have found absolutely no evidence of this. I searched through state records and arrest records, and while those aren't always foolproof, at least on the civilian side of things, I couldn't find anything. And again, the evidence that is present online points to a different explanation. But whenever I heard that, I was awestruck, like, what? You're telling me this guy went to jail, and I have to hear about it from the dude who's making a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. But it seems that the McCamey
Wait,
Manor
Blumhouse
shut
is
down,
making
not with
FNAF movie? Oh no.
a big bang or a grand show, but instead just a whimper. And as to why, we can only speculate as to a lack of interest or legal pressure or what have you. But thinking about this entire story,
Alright,
from
I'm
the
gonna have
beginning
to
the
stop
end,
now.
doesn't it just feel
Okay,
kinda
and then here goes the
bitter?
barking again.
Like,
Nice.
from McCamey's perspective, there's like this vitriolic nature to the whole thing. Like, think about it. This guy started out running
Alrighty,
a home
goodbye
haunt
and
with
thanks
his
for
dad.
your
Again,
support
something that I
like
think is
usual.
very cool and
And goodbye there. Wait. This is one of the few times I remember to raid something, but I don't know if anyone in... I don't want people we follow. You know what? We'll go to one of the animal channels. How's that sound? We like the Dash Ducks, so let's go there. How's that sound? I don't know why it didn't let me scroll down to see the other ones. Is anyone else in our group streaming at the moment? Let me see. No streaming. No, I don't see anyone else streaming at the moment, so. Yes, I'll send us 2 ducks. How's that sound? Alrighty. Goodbye, guys.